Hi, this is Tony Perez, president of the Fort Worth League of Neighborhood Associations. And for this video, I'd like to introduce you to Chris Carruthers, who's the partnership specialist for the 2020 census from the Dallas Regional Census Center, Field Division, Denver region. Chris, what can you tell us that's new about the census?
Well, as everything else, we have been affected by COVID. And so, uh, although Census Day was still April 1st, we have been shut down as far as some of our field operations for the last couple of months, but those are just now coming back into focus again. In fact, today, June 25th, is the big kickoff with Texas Counts, which is a statewide effort to restart the census operational in Texas. And so the 25th is the time that we're focusing on the DFW area as well. So you'll see a lot of media, uh, commercials, social media posts, emails coming out, partners that are of ours that are reaching out into the community for us to try to help and get that word out that we are still here. We're still taking responses, but originally the self-response time was supposed to end at the end of July. Now they're taking self-responses all the way until October 31st. So you still have some time to do it. It's real easy. You can do it online. You can do it by phone. You can do it with the mail-in ballot that was sent to your house. Or you can wait till somebody comes to your door in about 2 months. Middle of August, we're going to start going to those doors that have not responded yet to the census to try to get that information. Because our goal and our mandate is 100% of households to respond to the census every time around. Some of our communities have already hit 80 or 90% self-response rate, and so that just leaves us a small portion of the community to still reach out to, but we will continue to reach out to those communities. We will, in the near future, be counting areas like homeless folks, people who are in prisons and jails, people who are in homeless shelters or that are in battered women's shelters, those sorts of places. And that's a little separate process from what you might see if you are living in a home or an apartment in a city. So if you have not yet responded, you still have a couple of months, but it is coming soon that we will be coming to your door if you've not had a chance to respond.
I appreciate that information. So, just to reiterate and remind people why this is so important, because we're partially shut down because we're currently under COVID-19 restrictions. We have a lot of tension out in some communities for
Right.
other reasons. So we have a lot of people that are concerned about things that need to improve, things that need to change. And so, how do these census numbers come into play when it comes to affecting improvements in, for example, in law enforcement and in other government operations?
Thank you for that, Tony. Uh, the census numbers are incredibly important because it dictates where federal funding goes for the next 10 to 12 years. And that includes everything from schools to hospitals to roads to free and reduced lunch to Medicare to Medicaid, just about everything you can think of that the federal government funds. The numbers that are generated by the census dictate where those dollars go. So the more accurately we get counted in our census and in our communities, the more of those dollars are going to be present to help us revitalize certain areas, improve other areas, to redo roads where we need them, to build more schools. We redraw all the political maps, and so that's called redistricting. And so after the census is over, there will be a committee on the statewide level and on the area level and on the city levels, for example. They will redraw maps for who you vote for city council and who you vote for state representation, who you vote for that you send to the national U.S. Congress. So all of those lines will be redrawn based on these numbers as well. So it's important that we get everybody counted where they are, so that we can draw those lines as equitably as possible.
So a lot of people think that, oh, voting is enough, just making sure we vote, that which is of course certainly important, but
Absolutely.
just as important really is responding to the census so that we can have
Yep.
a lot of the resources that we need to get the things that we do vote for.
Yeah, and this determines who you vote for the next 10 years.
That's a good point. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Chris. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we are recruiting again. We had our staff ready to go, but with COVID and everything changing, some people have decided not to continue with us, or different circumstances. And so, as we ramp up our process, we're again recruiting people, and those are people that go door to door, and also people that supervise those folks, people who are out in the field with them. So, if you need to pick up a little extra cash or have a short-term job, that's what we've got. So if you go to 2020census.gov, there's a button on there you can apply right there, and they'll get you started.
And if I recall correctly, this is for pretty much every community. You're not going to be
Every
sending somebody 50 miles down the road. They're pretty
right,
much staying in their
that's right.
within their their region, or at least their locality. So that's
That's
good
right.
to know, because and it pays pretty well, I hear.
It does, yeah. I think 17 or $18 an hour is minimum, but I think they're in the low 20s for most of those jobs. And we're also still looking for partners, always organizations or businesses or nonprofits, churches, any kind of organization, even realtors, Tony, that are individuals. Because you're a business, you can be a partner with us and help us get the word out that the census is coming, that it's safe, that it's confidential, or we don't share our information even within the government. We only use it for our purposes, and it's quick and easy, and it makes a difference in your community for a generation.
Yeah, that is something that's extremely important for a lot of people too. They think if they respond, all of a sudden all their information is completely public to everybody, and that's not the case, right?
No, it is metadata. We don't say so and so lives here and so lives there. We say this community has these statistics.
Yeah, and they're very effective because it's not only utilized by the federal government. I believe state and local governments, like you mentioned, for redistricting purposes. Fort Worth's looking to add two new city districts, so
Right.
we're looking at redrawing those lines, because we've got to add two more districts for a total um, of 11, I believe. So we are at the point where we definitely need that information so that people are being represented properly and not
Well,
responding. Go ahead.
even businesses will use these numbers to determine where they put their next location of whatever the business is as well.
Ah, very true.
So
So
they'll use our data for local areas, for income, for all the different statistics that we use. They put that into their program and figure out what their profile is and determine, okay, that's an area we need a business to be.
yeah, so
So
I
it'll
could.
it'll determine where grocery stores go, for example.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly, because I hear that there's still some neighborhoods, for example, even in Fort Worth, that may not have access to a lot of grocery stores. They consider
Right.
themselves food deserts. But if the government
Right.
or businesses do not know what the population is like in those areas and what their needs are, they're not going to know to put in new businesses, including grocery stores there.
Well,
So
even downtown Fort Worth was that way for a long time. They said they couldn't do a grocery store in downtown Fort Worth till there were at least 10,000 people living down there. So there was a particular, uh, threshold they were trying to make, and so we can make those cases sometimes in communities and say there's enough people here for to support whatever business you're looking at.
I'd imagine in some cases too, when they're comparing, data from 10 years ago to today, they start to see what the trends are as well, because they can say, well, maybe not today, but since the numbers have increased since last time, we can estimate the trend will continue, and then probably in the next 4 to 5 years, we can come in and put in all this whatever's necessary, businesses or infrastructure
Absolutely.
sources,
Yep.
sources and all. So that's fantastic. That's just amazing.
Yep.
So. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to respond. We
Very
responded
easy.
within a week, from the online
Yeah.
request. So
It took me 10 minutes to do mine for my family.
yeah, once we sat down, it was real quick. So not a problem at all. And it's just important that everybody, as many people as possible, if not all, respond. So we
That's
appreciate all
right.
your efforts.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Tony.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. And I appreciate the time you made for us. This is important information that we're going to make sure gets out to everybody. And if you've already responded, check with your neighbors, check with your family and friends, and make sure that they have as well.
Absolutely. Because not
Oh,
everybody gets all the video stuff, so
right.
word of mouth is a good thing.
Amen. All right, Chris, thanks a lot. And we'll see you again
Thank
soon.
you.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Tony.
Bye bye.